Hey, what's going on out there, y'all? It's your boy Coach E on behalf of Perfect Time Fitness and Meal Prep. You guessed it, ladies and gentlemen. We are accepting new clients. Now, on the personal training side, we offer one-on-one training, weight loss, sports-specific training, cardio boxing class. Now, that starts every Saturday at noon at King's Gym in Bedford Heights. One-on-one boxing as well. Now, on the meal prep side, we do offer catering, personalized meal prep, charcuterie boards, fresh fruit and veggie juicing, detox soup, as well as Miss Sharon's famous cauliflower mac and cheese. Now, to reach out to us and place those orders and sign up for those sessions, reach out to us at www.perfecttimefitness.com. That is www.perfecttimefitness.com. Can't wait to hear from you. Get started. Peace.
Break.
What up? Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Coach E Game for All Seasons, brought to you by Move Less with your boy, Coach E, local neighborhood high school track coach, local neighborhood high school football coach, local neighborhood high school track and basketball and football coach. Also, most importantly, co-CEO, El Presidente at Perfect Time Fitness and Meal Prep, head trainer at Perfect Time Fitness. www.perfecttimefitness.com is where you need to go, where you need to shop, where you need to holler at me at. Get sessions. Miss Sharon got the food, so do them all together at the same damn time. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what's going on. On the left and my left, I got two assistant coaches with me. To my nearest left, I got Zen. What up, Zen?
What's going on, Coach E? So, man, it's been a little funny in the news this week. A lot of funny stuff coming up. So, something I came across for those out there as old as me. Freaknik, 1994. Hulu has just announced that there's going to be a documentary. Mm-hmm. Ooh, B.
Cass is nervous.
Ooh, we talking 30 years later, B. We thought what was going on in Atlanta was going to stay in Atlanta. And brother, no, somebody has captured some footage and they're going to put together a documentary. But you know what the best part about it is, right?
What's that?
You remember the Philly pod, right?
Uh-huh.
Coach E, remember?
We
gonna see a 12-year-old Coach E in there joking. Oh man, I can't wait.
Did y'all actually go to the Freaknik? Y'all actually went?
I did when I was 12. Swear.
I'm saying we about to see Coach E.
I might be in that thing.
Hold on.
In the parking garage on Peachtree. I remember. I watched soft porn in that joint. Hey, I ain't talking Emmanuel Cinemax, nothing. I'm talking Corinne Steffens. You know what I'm saying?
That's what got a lot of folks scared right now. They a little worried, like, ooh.
Right.
They got children. They got grandchildren, man.
Nana, is that you?
Exactly.
Some folks getting exposed. That's what's gonna happen. Uh-oh.
So you definitely gonna be in the documentary then, because there's gonna be a little portion where they're gonna say, it was some people that was there that wasn't supposed to be, and it's gonna show a shot to your 12-year-old self, just like.
Actually, I kind of looked like this when I was 12.
You probably did. I believe that. I believe that.
I just had the chin strap beard, a little thinner. That's all.
I believe that.
But what's good, fellas?
Definitely that documentary. Can't wait to see it and see what come out after that. On the far left, is my main man, Taboo BC Byron. What up, Taboo BC Byron?
What's good, E Scurry? Before I tell these people who I am, I got to right or wrong because somebody hit me up. They was like, yo, B, I'm disappointed in you. You know what I mean? And it was another example of white people stealing black culture. And what it was, everybody's saying that John Cena started You Can't See Me. It was the world famous sidekick known as Tony Yayo.
For Yayo.
He started it. So let's give him his props. He started the You Can't See Me. John Cena stole it. Mm-hmm. And that's it. It was started by a black guy.
Yeah.
So there we go. Now we are right. Person out there, I'll right it my wrong. This is not your boy, but your favorite grown ass man, Mr. Taboo Timmons. And I'm here with the fellas, and we have a special guest, and we are ready to roll. So, E, what's on tap for the day?
Well, first of all, B, let me take care of some house situations. We are live at Magna Wine Boutique at downtown Bedford, another location, Cuyahoga Falls. Come through, get your wine, get everything you need. Brittany and Dre will happily serve you, as well as Deb. I ain't gonna forget you, Deb. You are a big part of this, too. Thanks for staying this late, too. Appreciate you, girl. But we do have a guest, just like Byron alluded to. This young lady has a lot of accomplishments, a lot of things going on, juggling a lot of things at the same time, dodging microphones and everything. You said what now? She has a bachelor's degree from Oberlin College. Tell me if I'm saying this wrong. A Juris Doctor from Akron University.
Go Zips. Yeah.
We got another kangaroo in here.
Right.
All these kangaroos jumping around. Bobcats kill all kangaroos. Just want to let y'all know that.
Here we go.
And a host of other things that we will be digging into a little bit later. But, ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to welcome Tiffany Hill to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Tiff, what up?
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it. I want to say that this wine is delicious. I had the Niagara. I'm not paid for this advertisement, but it's delicious. It's delicious.
Well, Tiff, now that you're here, we start every show with a guest.
Okay.
And we asked them, how did you get to know Coach E? So,
all right.
Fill the people in. What'd you think?
So I met you, what year was that? It was at the Vault. I work out at the Vault, and you were training there. So that's where I met you. And you would always commented on my shoes, because I always switched up my shoes all the time.
That's crazy, because that's where I was going. But go ahead. Go ahead.
And I was like, oh, you notice? Thanks. I try to do my best. But so that's where I met you. So I think it was like 2019, 2018.
No,
maybe
it was 2020.
2020. Oh, it was 2020.
Yeah.
Hey, the pandemic make everything seem like 10 years ago. So
time flies.
yeah.
I was about to say we getting old, but you know.
Oh, I'm old too.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel it right
About
now.
that time?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna return the favor and elaborate on that story. I remember that day you came in with them LeBron Fruity Pebbles on. That's the day I said, dang, where you get them shoes from? And I noticed your work ethic too. Your work ethic was a little bit different than everybody else that happened to work out at that time. So we just start talking here and there every once in a while. And that stood out about me. You always had some fly kicks on. Exhibit A.
Oh,
Never
nice.
seen them before.
Yeah, these are cool Kais. Black owned.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that a wicker basket at the top?
It is. He does like different stuff. It's denim right here, a little wicker right here. Got a couple buttons on the back, a little plaid right there. He does a lot of different colorways. So,
dig that.
yeah, I love him.
Originality. It's
Yeah.
through the roof.
Black owned, you can't beat it.
Not at all. This is where we sitting at is black owned.
Correct.
So we can't pass that opportunity without saying that.
Right.
Coach E, I gotta say something.
Hello.
I heard Fruity Pebble LeBrons. What number?
Ooh. What number were those?
Let me ask. The pink ones, that's the knitted ones.
So I got a bunch of colors. I got some blue ones, some red ones, the ones with the I think they might be like 18s. I think they're 18s.
The first year with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, first year with the Lakers. Okay, I had the ones slightly before that. I was about to say, I'm a sneakerhead.
Yeah. Now I still have the original LeBrons. I still have those. Yes.
I didn't keep good care of mine, so yeah, those you got me on that one.
I gotta clean them up. They a little yellow on the sole, but I gotta clean them up. But I still have them.
So, how many number? Put a number to it.
How many shoes?
Yeah.
So I'm not okay.
Uh-oh.
So I'm not counting like heels and all that. I'm just strictly
So I've
sneakers.
never counted. But I know it's
I never have.
ridiculous.
I know I do too.
Because I feel like, and sometimes I feel like this is just like, who,
Only
you know.
got one pair of feet.
Yeah. and each time I buy a new pair, I'm like, okay, I got to give these away. But then it's like, because see, I ran into that problem when I'm mad that I gave away my original 11s. I gave my original Jordan 11s away. Like a lot of shoes, like those original Air Max 95s and all of that. Cause you take care of your shoes, and now I'm mad cause all that stuff come back. So it's like, I don't want to give it up.
Yeah, nah, I won't.
And I feel like that's not good for like the environment and the world. Just like for the world.
Doing your part, right? Doing your part.
The environment and the world.
In the world, it's people out here that don't have shoes. So it's like, you gotta make room.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for me. All right.
Don't make rooms, man. You can do it.
It is.
You can do it.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Tiff, let's get into it.
Let's get into
A
it.
little bit about yourself.
Okay.
That Juris doctor degree from University of Akron. What made you pursue that?
So law school. Okay. I went to law school because initially I graduated from undergrad in 2002 and I majored in economics. So, when I majored in economics, it was like, when I declared my major, it was the 90s. Bill Clinton was in office. The economy was booming. So everybody was getting these big time jobs where they were making a lot of money and econ majors. So I was like, oh yeah. And I liked it. I liked econ. And then when it was time to graduate, George Bush is in office. The economy is bad. So I was like, ooh. I don't know about getting a job today. So I was like, well, what am I going to do? So I was like, okay, well, let me figure out, maybe I'll go to law school. Now, the idea came, I was like, I'll just go to law school, figure it out. And, life is life. And so it worked out that I didn't go. I ended up taking a year off and I worked at Key Bank during that time. And then I ended up going to law school. But when I went to law school with the idea that I'm going to law school just for the information because I want to be a sports agent. And so that was the whole idea. At 22, I'm like, I'm going to be a sports agent. And then what's funny is I'm thinking all the time that this is what I'm only doing this because of economy and all of this stuff. But then like randomly I found like a journal that I had when I was like 8 years old and it said, I want to be a lawyer. And I was like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that I had that aspiration because I just remember back in the days, like a career day, and they were like, everybody went around and said what they wanted to be and what they wanted to do when they grew up. And I remember saying that I wanted to be Michael Jackson's plastic surgeon. And I remember that because people laughed at me, right?
Right.
And now it's like, that was actually a good aspiration to have in the fourth grade. Like, because Michael Jackson was heavy into plastic. You would never stop working, right? Yeah. And you're a plastic surgeon. But people, and that just, people laughed at me. So I was like, oh, kind of like coward, making me go shrink myself a little bit. And so I always remember that. And just when I listen to kids and what they want to do, I never like scoff at them, laugh at them, or anything. I always just like, okay, well, let's explore that more, rather, even if it's something that's just ridiculous, like, or just you can't do that. But I'll just, because sometimes these kids, you are not capable of that. But it's like I always like, well, let's explore it. I don't ever want to just shut them down because I could have been a plastic surgeon too,
Coach T, you hear that, right?
I definitely do.
Yeah, she said instead of being Johnny Cochran, she was gonna be Dr. Miami, brother. We could be talking to Dr. Miami right now.
Listen.
Blown away though. I didn't know Michael Jackson had plastic surgery. I thought it just naturally went white. I was taking vitamins or something.
It's probably fruit snacks.
Yeah,
Michael Jackson fruit snacks. That's what's happening right now. So, with you wanting to be a sports agent back then, was it a particular sport back then that you wanted to get into? Or
no.
Just period? Just get
at that time, it was basketball. At that time, when I thought of sports agents, I thought of basketball because that was my thing. I loved basketball. I used to follow it a lot. I did like football too, but like my favorite player was like Allen Iverson, growing up in the 90s. So, all the 90s players, like your Charles Oakleys and all of those kind of players, like, so I loved basketball. So that was the thing. And I didn't know the nuances of it, like that you have to get certified in each sport. And I just thought you could just be a sports agent and just be like, I'm here. So, but that was when I saw the vision, it was always basketball.
So,
go ahead, bro.
all right. So you knew back then. Now, if I read the bio correctly, you became certified in 2021?
2022, right?
2022. Sorry. So what from there to then, what was the journey like? What happened that took you on a detour?
So again, like, life and people and just shrinking myself and fear, right? Because so when I graduated from law school, I still had the inkling that I wanted to be in entertainment and in sports. And I remember, so when you graduate from law school, you're not, you can't just practice law immediately, right? You have to take the bar exam. So I spent the whole summer studying for the bar exam. And so you don't work, that's your job. You do that all day. Like some people work, and kudos to them, but I didn't, So I was studying for the bar. So once I was done studying for the bar, I was like, all right, I got to find a job. And again, I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't have the means or the idea on how to get there, right? And I knew that I had certain connections, like, and I always look at the moral of this story is that what's for you is for you, because even though it took me 16 years to get here, like my path was always laid out. Like I would meet people that were in sports and in entertainment. I would develop relationships with them, and it would be like random people, like at an airport. Like I met this guy randomly on an airplane one day, and we're still friends today. Like that, I met him in 2005, and he calls me now to do contracts for him developing TV shows and stuff because he was in entertainment, right? So he like, I want you to be my lawyer. I told you, that kind of stuff. So all of those things, it all it's all made for you. If it's for you, it's gonna find you. So once I graduated and I passed and I took the bar, it's a little time between you take it in July and then you don't find out if you pass until October. So you have to so what am I doing now? I got to find a job somewhere. And like during that time, if you don't already have a job at a firm, people are going to wait before they hire you because they want to know, are you going to pass the bar? So I was like working at this like document review place. And I was like, all right, I got to figure this out. And then, once it was time to figure it out, I still didn't know how to do it. And I was just like, all right, fine, I'll just apply for jobs. And so when I applied for a job, one of the jobs that I applied for was the prosecutor's office. And I put that application in on a Thursday, got a call on Monday, come in for an interview on Tuesday. I got hired right there on the spot. And so it was like, okay, and us, we need, I don't know about you, but I'm a first generation, college graduate and all of that stuff. And so in our minds, in our parents' minds, like you made it, like, hey, you got 2 degrees. Hey, you made it. So it's like, me working at the prosecutor's office, kudos to you. And I'm like, man. And I remember being in law school thinking when people were saying that they want to be prosecutors, I was like, you want to work for the man? Like, what is, I never worked for the man.
Right. Just don't do nothing so I got to see you.
But and so that was, I never wanted that job. Never. And and again, God do his thing, because I know that I was strategically placed there because of who I am, right? Because, it's not a lot of us who else can see the world through our eyes in that job, right? And people don't realize that the prosecutor is the most important component of the justice system, really, aside from the judge, because the prosecutor determines the outcome. Like, what are these charges? What's going to happen? Right. Are we going to drop the case? Are we going to keep the case? All of that stuff. And so I appreciate and I understood my assignment there, but I was like, Lord, how long is this assignment? Because I was miserable. And I was like, it was emotionally draining because all you see all day is people that look like you or people that you went to school with, people that, lived around the corner from you. And it's like, dang, what you doing in here? You know? And so that became, and my colleagues never experienced that because they didn't have to, because the people that they prosecuted didn't look like them. They weren't in their neighborhoods. They didn't grow up with those people. They weren't their cousins. You know what I mean? Or your cousin's boyfriend or your cousin's girlfriend. Or, you know, it's just, especially in Cleveland, everything is so, we are 1 degree of separation.
Exactly.
So, you know, you might be talking on the phone to somebody and they be like, let me tell you what happened to Pooh Man down the street. And you like, what? And then the next day you get to work and you reading the police report. You like, it's Pooh Man.
It's Pooh Man.
That's
you
what
know?
you're talking about.
So I heard you in the beginning said fear. Michelle Obama, I believe, has the quote that on the other side of fear is greatness. So
Right.
what made you go ahead and tackle that fear and make that jump? Because a lot of people deal with that in their day to day.
So for me, it was a totality of things. I got to a point where I was tired of just living life and not being happy. I just couldn't. I realized life is short, and I didn't want to keep living in a state where I'm not happy. I'm not doing, like, every day I'm not happy. Like, I would be happy at certain points, but the majority of the time I wasn't happy. And then I did this emotional intelligence, like, leadership training. And it went in depth into, like, what are your fears? What's holding you back? The trauma that you have that makes you react the way that you do to certain things. And so once I went through that, and it was like a 3-month process. And so once I went through that, it was kind of like I got renewed a little. And then, you know, with life happening and then me just saying, like, enough is enough. And then, like, during COVID, I was, you know, I almost died. And, you know, like, it was just like, hey, when I realized, when I woke up and was like, oh, I almost wasn't here. And I was about to not be here and be miserable. It was just like, I'm done. Like, and I realized, I was like, during that time, I just set a date. I'm like, I'm gonna quit this job on this date. And I did it.
That was literally your wake up call.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you said it took you 16 years to get to where you are right now.
Oh, yeah.
So that just literally puts in perspective the definition of the word grind. Because everything is not going to be easy. Everything is not going to be a fast process.
Right.
I got my CDL, so I drive trucks. When you first learning how to drive a truck, you learning how to shift the gears.
Yeah.
And it's grinds turning and turning. When you grind those gears, it breaks off little pieces and pieces of the gear. So in that 16 years, it probably broke your spirit a
Yeah.
little bit
Oh,
here and there and
definitely.
here and there. But whenever you go that long of a journey, you put a lot of miles on the truck. Some trucks have to change their engine about 1 million miles. So that 16 years could be your 1 million mile journey. They put a fresh new engine in, fresh new clutch, fresh new gears. That's where you at right now.
Right.
So basically, it was worth it.
It definitely was worth it. And like I say, like, it was not, it wasn't in vain. The skills that I learned during that time are valuable now. The time made me realize the gifts that I have and the value and the reason that I do what I do now. So it's, you know, it's life. And I think that, but I also learned too that, you know, you are in control of your own destiny. Like, you can't just sit around and just be woe is me all the time, because you are in control. Like, when I quit my job, you know, people didn't really believe me. And I resigned on Martin Luther King Day, and that was on purpose. And so,
You know what I'm saying?
you know, that's just me. And, but, you know, people didn't believe that I was really going to do it. Like, they were like, some people, now, you know, my core, my circle, they were like, okay, all right, we see you. But, like, some people didn't think, and, like, I didn't tell my coworkers a thing, and that killed them. Like, I was just like, yep, I'm leaving. Well, where are you going? And I would just stare at them.
Right.
And because you were part of my misery, right? Like, they were the contributing factors of why I was miserable, and they didn't appreciate me and they didn't value me. And so you know, that's part of this journey that I'm on, and I sound like somebody on Oprah or something. This
It's
journey,
all right.
this journey that I'm on.
Call it what it is.
But that's part of how I operate now. Like, I don't operate in circles and spaces or with people that don't value me or that don't bring something to me in terms of, like, I don't want to waste my time. I definitely don't want to waste my money. But time to me is bigger than money, because I can always make more money. I can't make more time because I don't know how much I have.
Yeah.
So, you're not going to waste my time at all. That's just not going to happen. So, I just feel like right now I'm doing, and even though it took me 16 years to get here, I also know that my life can change tomorrow. Like,
Absolutely.
all it takes is one meeting, and it's done. Like, it's something else. It's to the top.
Right.
And so it's cool. Like, I'm enjoying the ride.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So you jump out there starting from scratch in a whole new industry. So you got to build yourself up. If you had some advice to give to people, because a lot of people are out there in that same situation as well too. If you had to give them some advice, some things that you've learned along the way to building and growing your business, because you're a managing partner of your own firm, correct?
Right.
So talk to me about what it takes to build and grow and finding that target demo to go after.
So you have to go, well, first and foremost, especially if you're jumping out into an industry that's new to you, because again, like I said, I practiced criminal law for 16 years. So now I said, I don't want to do that anymore. I'll do it on occasion, but that's not my primary focus. So that's unheard of too, that if I start my own firm, I'm doing business and trademarks and stuff that is just like, wait a minute, like, what is this? So you have to get with people that are doing the same thing, the things that you want to do. And that's just in life in general. If you say that you want to be, like, you want to own your own trucking company and you want to be a multi-million-dollar trucking business, you need to be around the multi-million-dollar truckers, right? And so, because that's where you're going to learn, you're going to get clients when you do that. And for me, like, I started doing, y'all probably don't believe this because I've been talking a lot while y'all were eating fruit snacks and stuff, but but I'm kind of introverted, right? And so to me, this whole thing has been different because I cannot be introverted in this process, right? And so I've just been telling everybody, I just talk to people, like, I'll be like, you got to practice. You have to practice just talking to people, talking to random people.
Getting
and like,
your reps.
yeah, and yeah, right.
Getting
And
your
so
reps.
like just last night I was talking to someone and they were like, oh, you're a sports agent. Do you think about getting any investors for that? And I was like, no, he said, do you have any investors? I said, I don't, but I'm willing to talk about it. And he said, well, take my information. And I was like, well, all right, And so that's how that happens. But, you just have to open your mouth. You got to open your mouth, and you have to. It's on the other side of your comfort zone, because all of this stuff is not within my comfort zone. I promise you.
It will be.
Right. Correct. Yeah.
You got a good mask because you hide it well.
Yeah. That's that 16 years. I was
you
a
go.
prosecutor. I couldn't walk in the courtroom being afraid. Like, they'd be like, oh, I got her. No, I got you. And then when I go back, I was like, man, ooh, they came back guilty. I thought they said it was gonna be not guilty like a mother. So.
All right. So let's talk about this NFL agent piece.
Let's get into it.
So talk to me about acquiring talent. What's the route of acquiring talent?
That's the hard part right there. That's the tough part. Everybody see the glamour, but the hard part is getting this talent.
Right. So acquiring talent. And then also I want to ask, you being a black female in a industry full of alpha males, do you see them being receptive to you?
So, surprisingly, so I went to the combine, and so that was my first combine. And when I went, I had a good time. Like I didn't see that whole like, oh, what you doing here, young lady? Like, put your, I didn't see that. I didn't experience that. But also with me, I think because of my background and being in a male-dominated profession before, I know how to like
carry yourself.
Yeah, I know how to move in that situation, and so it's not hard for me to talk to guys and just to be like, hey, like I always get a home, like guys always be like, you cool, you know, like I didn't know you was that cool, like you know, I always had like that homie vibe anyway, so it doesn't, that's not hard. That wasn't hard for me, and I didn't get that, you know. But you know, I work with two of my two mentors that are sports agents, and the first night, like, so during the daytime of the combine, everybody's doing the workout, so the coaches are doing their thing, everybody's working, but at night, that's party time, right?
St.
Everybody,
Elmo's.
right? St. Elmo's, cigar bar, all of that stuff. And so my mentor, he was like, yeah, we're gonna hit up the cigar bar tonight. I was like, okay. And he was like, hey, don't go up to that hotel room and put that prom shit on. Don't put them stilettos on. And I was like, okay, because I straight was going to put up on some jeans and some heels, because when I go out, that's what I do. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, all right. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna keep what I wore all day. And so that's how it went, you know. But you know, my regular attire, like fresh kicks, you know, whatever. So
that's fitting in anyway.
Yeah, it's fitting in.
But this time of year is always my favorite time of year. We had this conversation on the previous episode. I went to the free agent combine. I wasn't invited to the actual combine.
Yeah.
So that whole draft process was just like a dream come true, but it never came true.
Yeah.
And I always have like a kind of depression that set in, but I love watching it just because I love to see the emotions of the families and the kids, how their life changed, just like that. Well, of course, we both know it not just like that, but in that moment from watching in the little idiot box, you think it just changed like that, but it's like a happy, sad time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I can see that. I can see that.
And I'm just happy for this class. Every class that come and go, I'm extremely happy for it. So I love watching the draft every year.
All right, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah, I can see that. I can see how that could be, because, you know, the ghost of Christmas future that didn't come.
You know what I'm
saying? Yeah, I can see
definitely.
that. Yeah. But recruiting is like, you know, hey, it's a mean world out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. So
it is a mean world
you got
out
any
there.
interesting stories you could share? You got an interesting story?
So I don't have any interesting stories just yet. Nah, I don't have any interesting stories just yet.
Not from the watching, from the third party perspective. Maybe not you first person, but maybe third person. You witnessed something? Nothing.
Nah. Not that I want to share. Not that I want to share. Not that I want to share.
Did you watch Jerry Maguire before you went downstairs to the lobby?
I watched Jerry Maguire like 20 years ago when it came out. You know, everybody always says that, but you know, I'm like, Jerry Maguire, and everybody always says Tasha Mack. You gonna be Tasha Mack out here? I'm like, I can identify with Tasha Mack a little bit better. Pow, pow, pow. Rather than Jerry Maguire. I ain't gonna be no Jerry Maguire. I don't even remember what Jerry Maguire did. Actually, I just remember Show Me the Money. But that's all I remember.
Yeah, that's everybody.
But I feel like, you know, being an agent is more than just show me the money, I think. And I think that's the part that people don't understand. And I think that's the part where sometimes players get lost, because their agent is all about show me the money. And it's not like, well, show me the therapy. Show me the character of development, all of that kind of thing. Or just show me the relationship. Just be there for me, right? And so I think that's the part where a lot of players get lost in the sauce, because they don't have that agent with that good relationship. And it's just all about the money.
That's what the movie was about.
Oh, was it?
The movie.
Well,
he was talking about the relationship, and that's why he went to small. I'm a movie guy, so you know.
I'm a movie girl too.
Yeah,
black
that's
movies.
Why they went to
Wait a minute, what did she say? Did she say black movies?
Definitely said black movies. Got Marcus Henry over here.
Yes.
Judas and the Black Messiah over here.
Yeah.
So no cream on the screen. That's what he
No, I do like movies, but you know, I can quote, you know, melanated hued movies more than
Hey, that wordplay was awesome.
yeah.
Melanated hues.
So
All right, so you spoke on it. It's not just acquiring the talent. It's not just negotiations. Talk about all the aspects that go into being an agent.
You know, so you are actually like a family member. Like the best relationships, the best agents that I've seen that's how they operate. And it's not necessarily, that, you sleeping at my house, but it's like, the accessibility, the camaraderie, the familiarity, all of those things is, what makes a good agent to me. Like, just watching, everybody has their stories, right? There are particular agents that everybody has a story about that they're like, oh, this guy coming, and I never want to be that person.
But at the end of the day, what it comes down to, you got to get them the bread. Mm-hmm. So big part of that job is the negotiations. Mm-hmm. When I think about negotiations in everyday life, a lot of people are scared to ask what they want in fear of losing something in the end. If you had something, I'm sure you've had to come up against this yourself. Do you have some tips, some pointers that you could give to the people in a situation like that?
I'm a hardball negotiator. Like I've always been like, so even when in my, when I worked for the government, part of my job was being a civil attorney.
Even as an introvert, you immediately went
that's the
right
fun.
there,
That's the fun. Negotiation is the fun part. And I remember this guy was trying to sue the city for, I think he wanted like $5 million, something just ridiculous. Man, I settled that case for $750.
Man, what?
And he was like,
confused introvert.
Yeah.
Not like myself. I said it too.
And I just, so those kind of things always excite me. So I'm not when it comes to that, I'm not soft at all. Like I'm like, yeah, we gonna get this money, right? So it's gonna be fun to be on the asking end and to actually have the, but you got to have the skill set to back it up. Obviously, we can't just be out here just saying, I want $250 guaranteed. And you be like, yeah, I don't know if you work $250 guaranteed, I tell people like, part of my thing is that I'm always going to be honest with you because I need you to be honest with me. Mm-hmm. So, that's my spiel that I always give people. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. So you got to be honest with me.
That's you walking, you leading us somewhere right there with that.
Come on. I was about to go somewhere too.
Okay. We might be going to the same place. Let me ask this. So there's right now a very notarized. What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, a very notable negotiation going right now in the NFL right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
involving involving a certain quarterback for a
Lamar
team in our
Jackson.
division.
Can we say it?
Go ahead and say it. You can say whatever you want to say.
I would like to get your thoughts. So
I'm all for Lamar getting his money. I want him to get his money.
But I gotta ask.
The boy needs your help.
That's what I'm saying. I gotta ask.
That's where I'm coming from.
How do you see it? Him representing himself in such a major deal.
I think that I'm rooting for him. So that's I want him to get his money. It's a tough situation.
But
yeah, it's just a tough situation all around because I understand his perspective on why he doesn't want an agent. And I can't knock him for that. I can't knock him for it.
Now you say you see, what do you see? Why do you feel he's going this route, not having an agent?
Well, he said he doesn't want anybody. He doesn't need anybody. He said that I think what I read was he said that he knows he can read the structure. So when you sign your rookie deal, that's pretty much it's standard, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, but now when you get into that second contract, it's a little different. Yes. But I don't know. I think, I feel like he thinks that he can still do it himself. And I don't knock you for that. Like, more power to you. Like, there are people that do it, And so, but I applaud him for that because I want him to stand his ground because just like, me, or if I had a vision for something, then I wouldn't want somebody coming to me telling me, like, you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it. So I applaud him, and I want him to get his money because when he get his money, that helps everybody else get their money. So I'm for him getting his money.
I feel what you're saying, Tiff, but it's only so far he can go because he is still the player. And once you go into that room,
it's
until
feelings
this
involved.
yes,
feelings,
that
feelings become
multi-billion
involved.
company, hey, I think I deserve this. They about to tell you the honest to God truth.
Yeah,
because
and that's
their
gonna
money.
hurt. Yeah.
It's gonna hurt. So from that moment on, everything is not even.
It becomes personal.
Yeah,
rather
it's not
than business.
negotiating no more. It's
Stalemate.
just a chest beating contest at that time.
Yeah.
So I think he needs, if he don't want to get an agent, I think he needs somebody to do the negotiations for him.
But he can't. Like you can't.
Yeah, it's too late now. Like I think he's too far in, and I think he went about it the wrong way, especially for this contract.
But
And his
he
style
went
of
about it
play-
the Lamar way though.
He
So
did,
you
but-
Right.
can't say it's the wrong way. It was the
Okay,
way
I
he
just-
wanted to do it.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking that.
It was the way he wanted to do
And
it.
I have no problem with that. But I just think if he would have approached it another way,
Oh,
this is me
yeah.
personally, not him.
Yeah.
It would have been a lot easier and the process wouldn't be this long.
Yeah, so like, part of, I don't know if I told you this, but part of my story is that I went to boarding school for high school, right? So I went to boarding school in Owings Mills, Maryland, which is where the Ravens have their practice.
Yeah.
So that, I grew up in East Cleveland. I went to East Cleveland schools for elementary school. Then I went to Whitney Young for middle school. And then for high school, I went to boarding school all 4 years. So, and it was in the middle of the trees and the woods and all of that stuff. So what I say about that is that going to boarding school helped me to navigate two different worlds. Because, I would go to school, come home on breaks and, for Christmas break, summer break and all of that stuff. So when I'm at boarding school, my friends are like, very well off. I'm experiencing things that I'd never seen before, never dreamed of ever experiencing, and all of that stuff. But then when I would come home, you come home to Lee and Harvard, right? So that was
you just heard right there.
That was a far cry from the boarding school. So I learned how to navigate the situations, and I learned that there's a time and a place for everything. And so I don't know if, not knocking Lamar, but it's a time and a place. And it was, so it was probably, at some point it probably wasn't appropriate or, for him to do certain things or whatever. But, you live and you learn. So that's why I'm not knocking. I really want him to get his money because I feel him. As a matter of fact, I just went to my boarding school like 3 weeks ago. I was like, hey, anybody got a line on Lamar around here? Like, I was so serious about finding him because like a lot of at my high school, a lot of like the coaches' kids and stuff go to that school now. So I was like, hey, anybody? Hey, let me know. I'm open. So I was just talking to him, just because I feel like, and I get it because too, like if you're used to a certain type of agent, then maybe you've seen agents that you can't necessarily relate to. You know what I mean? And so I get it. I understand. But I would like to talk to him to say like, well, what's your angle? Like, what's up?
Right.
That's what I want to know. I want to know if he called you tomorrow, what would be your approach? Like, because he said, look, Tiffany, I want to get 250 guaranteed. Watson, Cleveland broke the league. So he pimped the game. Yeah. I want to pimp it too, but bigger. I'm better than that man. What would you tell him? And what would you tell him? That's the first question.
First thing I would say is we got to meet face to face. We're not about to do this over the phone.
Right.
Because I'm just not gonna do this over the phone. But I really want to talk to him and find out like, what's up? Like tell me what's the thought process behind this? Because there's a motivation, right? Mm-hmm. There is always a motivation for what you do. And once you tap into the motivation, then maybe we can dissect it to get to the end game of where you want to be. Mm-hmm. Once we dissect that motivation and figure out like, okay, can we, how can we like
the middle ground? Is it the middle ground we said, or is it the what I mean?
It's something, but because right now, but they got my boy Odell, so y'all think he going back?
I think they claim he recruited him, and I think they overpaid Odell. Me personally, I'd be pissed if I was
an Odell hater.
Why?
No, I'm just saying, 15 million.
He didn't like him when he was here because he's a Baker guy.
I am a Baker guy.
I'm putting it all out here.
Proud Baker guy.
He's a Baker guy.
I wish I had I ain't in the car.
You wish you had your what?
My Baker gear.
You got Baker Mayfield gear?
Yeah,
Everything.
I love Baker. I love
bless
his
your
moxie.
heart.
I love
Bless
his,
your heart.
his gird.
I mean, good for Baker.
To each his own.
Yeah, to each his own. But you didn't like Odell though?
No, it wasn't. See, they misquote me. See, what I didn't like was that he was running his own routes, doing his own thing. And Baker took the rap for it because Baker wasn't suave enough. I give y'all that. To play street ball with Odell. Odell like, I'm going to run on the strings of the football.
Lies and more
5
lies.
steps and
You
cut.
making up a whole story over
Totally
there.
making up a story.
And Kevin
Because I
Stefanski
broke
told you these
Kevin
facts.
Stefanski like, please, can you just run the
Twitter.
route?
Told you this
He's like, I'm going to do my own thing.
These articles, he just
Yeah,
chooses the
he had
parts
his
that
own
he
thing.
wants to believe. He'll read the whole article,
Yeah,
but
his
like
own
focus
thing.
on 3 sentences.
Reportedly, supposedly.
Yeah,
Either
man.
way it go. But still, I still want to know if because Lamar, let's just say he'd be like, well, I just want more than Watson. Because it seemed like Kyler wanted more than Watson. A lot of people wanted more than Watson. That kind of broke the league. And knowing that they got to make an example out of somebody, because if they let Lamar get this money, then it become the NBA. Everybody's
and
gonna
that-
just
that
call
doesn't-
a shot.
Yeah,
So the good old boys got to say no.
That
So-
ain't happening at all.
Right. And so
They have-
Lamar,
they have,
right,
like,
you know
they
it
got,
ain't
They
happening.
have it on lock.
Yeah.
They got tight reins.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
what's the middle ground if Lamar's just saying, I want more than Watson? I want to break the record too. I want 230. I want 250 guaranteed. And you know the Ravens ain't coming off that 230, that 250 guaranteed. They ain't gonna do it
Is there such thing as a middle ground though?
at this point.
I don't know. You know how like you break up with somebody and you just be like, first y'all cool kind of, and then you try to get back with them, and then y'all get back. You be like, I remember why I ain't like you in the first place, and you're like, and that's why your feet stink. And you say stuff that's
Little
just
shit.
like, you say stuff that's like beyond the point of no. Your mom only got one eye, and so it's like, I can't get back with this now.
Right.
That's that feeling I was talking about.
Like I do. I miss your cooking and all of that stuff, but you said my mom only got one eye. Like, how do I?
Never getting over it.
Yeah, you ain't coming to my mama's house now. Like every holiday. So it's like,
Easter.
I don't know. It's interesting. We gonna see how it shake out. We gonna see how it shake out.
I do want to ask this question. So one of the things I've read is for not having an agent is the agent necessarily isn't always in the best interest of the client, because the agent wants to develop a relationship with the team in order to negotiate future contracts with the team. So having an agent that you need to be, as you said, a hardball agent, they not necessarily going to be as hardball as you want them to. So Lamar
need a new
can
agent.
represent himself and be just that.
But you need a new agent. That's the thing that I'm talking about. Like, if your agent is more concerned with like getting along with the owners, and that's a problem to me. Like, you should have obviously you should have a good relationship. Like, you shouldn't be kicking in the door and just being just raggedy and just a dog. But they should respect you. But you can't. This is a business. And some of the agents that you hear stories about that are, they do have a reputation of being like the owners love them. I'm like, that's not something that you want to hang your hat on. That's like, being a prosecutor, all the defendants love you. Like,
Right.
yeah, like, why, you didn't,
What's with you, brother?
Okay. All right. So you said that. I got to go back to the hardball negotiator. So you say you would go in there and be a hardball negotiator.
But you got to also take into consideration, like, what is the ultimate goal? Like, what is the goal? So just because I say I'm a hardball negotiator, that doesn't mean that I'm coming in just like, yeah, this is what we're doing. Like, you have to know that
That's what I wanna know.
you need to know what the bottom line is. You need to know what your client's bottom line is, and you need to know like what's at stake. You have to be truth. It's all about the truth, truth teller. So, when I say I'm a hardball negotiator, like, I feel like that's the fun part. But I also think, but you also have to know the nuances of contracts and the little, like, the incentives and all of that kind of stuff. So, like, that's where people get hung up on too. Like, like one of the agents that I was listening to, he was talking about how he studied contracts, and he studied Larry Fitzgerald's contract, and and that's how he got to know like how to finesse it. You know what I mean? And that's the thing too. Like if you want to be great, like study the greats.
Okay, you say study the greats. What are some of the greats in your eyes?
Who got Deshaun Watson's contract?
David Mulugeta.
Exactly.
Killer.
So what did he do right in that situation that hurts this man heart right here?
Pimping ain't easy, but it's necessary.
He hurt over here.
So I don't know. I would love to talk to him. Like I don't know. Like I want to know. Like that's to me. That's like you did that. Like to me, that's just like I give him all the props. Like I really want to know. Like what? How did you do it?
So I want to know what's one of your secrets to success is being a negotiator, being a hardball negotiator. What's the?
You acting like I done negotiated 50 NFL contracts.
I'm not even talking about 50 NFL secrets to success.
In October.
No. I'm not talking about that.
Old boy down the street, I got him $10. Like what are you talking about?
I'm going back. You said 16 years. I'm not even talking about that.
Okay.
I'm talking about the 16 years prior to.
So during that time, I was on the receiving end of the demands, right? So people would ask me, they would give me the demands.
Okay.
So when I got the demands, I would be like, all right. So I already knew what my bottom line number was. Like I knew how much we were willing to settle for. And I would always go way lower than that. And that's how I got to $750 from $3 million.
For the 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ain't negotiating.
So yeah. And I was like, I give you. And you also have to know who is your audience. So because I knew with him how to talk to him, right? Mm-hmm. And I knew that being like, hey, how you doing? This is Tiffany Hill. That's not going to work for him. I was like, hey,
my dude.
Yeah, we gonna give you $750. And he was like, no, first I said $500. He was like, well, at least give me $750. And I was like, yeah, all right. Like,
Gotcha.
Okay. So it's like
Gotcha,
you
bitch.
also have to know who you're talking to.
Wars.
Like, it's not that, but NFL is different too. Like, again, because you got to know the nuances of the CBA. You got to know that stuff. You can't just go in there and be like, this is the number,
No, but at the same time, you being on both sides, you kind of know both sides. So you don't know what they're going to counter with, but you know the principle of what they can and will counter with, just dealing with the whole $1 billion industry and even down to what you were talking about, the 750, because you knew your number and you knew what to rebuttal with. Right. So with you going into offices like that, you can kind of have the cheat code, so to say, that somebody else wouldn't have.
But from what,
to a certain extent.
I haven't negotiated an NFL contract. Let me just be clear. But from what I observed during the combine, I don't think that I go in with a number either. I feel like they're going to tell me what their number is first, and I'm going to be like,
yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I one last question, and I'll let y'all have it.
I was gonna say one thing, man. It just seemed like Lamar about to be Le'Veon Bell.
I don't think he's going that far.
No.
You gonna be a boxer?
No.
He ain't going that
Is he
far.
gonna play?
Of all the sports, though, why NFL?
Because Cleveland has a good football market.
Okay,
great. Yeah, like it's too many connections here to negate that, right? And it's perfect to me, in terms of, like I said, Cleveland is 1 degree of separation, and it doesn't take much to, if it's a kid out of some like St. Ed, St. Ignatius, that you see up and coming, like you can follow them easy, find out who their parents are, all of that kind of stuff, and be like, it's easy.
Get that foot in right now.
I do got one more quick question. Now, I heard you say something about like the therapy end of it, being that agent with a personal touch, basically. Mm-hmm. How are you going to showcase that? Like how, because that's a good angle, like to me. So how are you going to showcase that and let people know that you're that person?
So I think, I struggle with like, what's my, what makes me different? Like, why would I sign with Tiffany? And
not that voice.
Right, exactly, right. And the thing about it is just being authentic, because authentically Tiffany is that part. Is like, I'm trying to, like, how are you for real? Not just, don't give me that surface stuff. Like, you know, once you know people, like when you get to know people, I'll be like, you ain't good. Like, what's up? So that's that being authentically me. It's not hard to get to that part.
Okay.
Once you know me.
Coachy.
So in the same time, you say you an introvert, but
Ain't it funny?
not really. You kind of are like a pilot, so to say. And a pilot is like a person that's very assertive, and that's pretty much like you getting into the agent industry. You come in there and insert your will, so to say. So you can't really be an introvert doing that.
You know,
you can't turn that. An introvert switch is always on. Being introvert, you can't turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on.
Either.
I'm gonna go to the other room and be a pilot, then I'm gonna come back over here be an introvert.
Child,
You have made a decision.
He in a room with 3 introverts.
You
he don't
can,
understand.
bro. I'm an
Like,
introvert.
man,
Like, for real.
yeah. You
I got the world trick.
1, 2,
Y'all be
3.
killing me.
Hey, you got the world trick.
Everybody fooled.
Man,
My closing door, like, damn, you want that? Anything's possible.
Absolutely.
You
Maybe
get in your
it's
house,
just-
you be like, whoo, shoot.
Like, I'm tired. Like
Yeah.
David Blaine. I'm like, I'm tired.
Maybe it's just hard for me to accept that. I just can't.
Yeah,
grasp
because you know, if I'm in a room and I'm just in the room. Like if I came here and it was an event here, I would be like, I'd just be looking around, like,
Absolutely.
Yep.
oh yeah, and then I would know, like, oh yeah, that's his girl right there. Oh, they having a fight. Like I done studied the whole room. Yeah, I done studied the whole room
Yeah,
to
but
figure it
at the
out.
same time, I would do that too. But I don't consider myself an introvert. That just gives me an end to everybody in the room.
See, but I don't let everybody in.
No, I'm talking about
Yeah.
that gives me
Right.
an end to
Yeah.
everybody else,
But
not necessarily them to me.
I think I'm an introvert because I don't let everybody in. Like everybody don't see this side of me. It's
No.
people at the gym that be like, oh, that girl,
Exactly.
she
Because you didn't talk.
right, exactly.
That's what I was
You're
saying, your
proving my
work
point,
ethic.
right?
Yeah, but-
You're proving my point.
You might be right. I
She
say
took
that.
you right down that alleyway. She
folks.
trapped you.
Yeah, she did. Move, you know what I'm saying?
You just
Guilty.
took the 750.
750.
750.
It's like, oh, look at this. Like, wait a minute. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
so.
folks, I think we need to pour up a glass and toast to a great episode.
Very good.
Tiffany, thank
gummy
you
bear.
for your patience. Number 1.
Oh, amen.
Amen. Yeah, taking the church.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And thank you for your knowledge, your wisdom, and sharing your story with us this evening. We appreciate everything from you.
Okay, no problem.
Let's go ahead and toast to another great episode of Game for All Season, folks. Get your butt
right.
up.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem.
Man, do you see I'm wrapped up in this cord? Like,
Get up.
I had to lightly walk and try not to trip on the
No.
Toes.
Yeah. But yeah, great pod.
All right. Amen.
Wi-Fi.
So before we get out of here, Coach E,
Yes, Malcolm's in.
you got a post-game word for the people.
Man, you know I do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, gather round, take a knee, all eyes on me. Today's word is embrace the grind. You have to embrace the grind. You hear me? Microphone, microwave society. You must embrace the grind. You cannot live in this microwave society and expect things to come to you just like that. Why? Because you didn't earn it. You didn't go through anything. You didn't prove yourself to your journey in order to get that reward at the end of your journey. So you have to embrace the grind. You should want to hurt. You should want it to be happy. You should want it to be sad. It's going to go up and down, but that's just preparing you for the end game at the end of your journey and your grind. So keep your grind to get you to the end of that journey. The beginning of the journey is going to always be hard. You're going to second guess yourself, but at the end of the day, keep second guessing yourself. What does that mean? You still going on your grind. So keep second guessing yourself. Keep proving it to yourself that you don't need to second guess yourself. Because when you're done second guessing yourself, everybody will embrace you and never second guess you from that moment on. So just embrace the grind. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening to another episode of Coach E Game for All Seasons, brought to you by Move for Less. And once again, thank you very much to my homegirl, Tiff. Great job, girl. You dropped some gems. You would drop some game that people don't know. And with that being said, see you next week.
Hey, best of luck to you. I'm going to be paying attention to you now.
All right, I got some stuff coming up.